Hi guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome to lesson 3 of A Bad Case of Stripes. Today is going to be all about comprehension, which is meaning did you really understand what you read or listened to? Did you really get what it was all about? And it's also going to be about good listening skills. Very important that you have your listening ears on. So if you forgot to turn them on, you better turn them on right now, okay? So we are going to do a fiction passage. Fiction means it's not real, totally made up, okay? And we are going to do a nonfiction passage, and nonfiction means it is real. It's a true reading text. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read each of these passages 2 times. Why do you think I'm going to read it twice and not just once? Yeah, I really want you to have a chance to listen really well to each of these texts that I'm going to read to you. They're pretty short. They're not super long, but you have to listen really carefully because after you finish this video, you're going to have to answer some questions about what you just listened to. Normally, you would be reading this on your own and then answering the comprehension questions after it. But this time, we're going to have to listen really close. So I'm going to read it twice. And then on your Class Dojo student account, you will be able to see the work that goes along with the text so that you can answer the questions that go with it, okay? So I'm going to switch over to my document camera now. See you in a sec. And we're back. And here is your first reading passage that we are going to have today. You see in the top corner, it tells you what genre this is. This is fiction. Genre just means what type of story is it. So this is a fiction passage, which we told you that means it's not real. So it's a made-up story. And then you have the title. The title of the story is called Sick Teacher. Oh, it's never good when your teacher's sick, right? We don't like it when we have to have a substitute teacher. So I'm going to read the passage to you. Remember, I'm going to read it twice. After I read it to you and you finish this video for the day, then you're going to pull up your Class Dojo student account, go to your to-do list and click on this assignment, and it will have these questions here at the bottom. So these are the things that you need to be listening for. How do you know Miss Kelly was sick? Why would it be a bad idea for Miss Kelly to go to school? And how does Miss Kelly know her students missed her? Can you make a connection to this passage? So when it asks you to make a connection, that's something from your personal experience or your life. So you're going to say, how does Miss Kelly know that her students missed her? And then you're also going to give me a connection to you, something that's happened in your life before, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and begin. Remember, fluent readers, we're looking for a few different things. We're looking for good pacing, not too fast and not too slow. We're looking for expression in your voice. So if it's an exciting sentence, I should read that with excitement. Or if the character is mad or sad or scared, your voice should change when you are reading. Even if you're reading in your head, you can think it in a way that shows good expression as well. So you're looking for pacing, expression in your voice, and making sure you get all your words right. So that's accuracy, making sure you are correct. So you don't want to read this and get the words wrong because then that's actually going to change your understanding of the story. Okay? You guys ready? All right, here we go. Sick teacher. Miss Kelly was a brand new teacher at Willow Elementary School. She loved teaching her second graders and enjoyed going to work every day. One Wednesday morning, she woke up with a terrible cough and a fever. Oh no! She didn't want to miss school, but she didn't want to get her students sick either. Miss Kelly had to call in sick to work and have a substitute for her classroom. After she went to the doctor, Miss Kelly spent the rest of the day in bed with her medicine close beside her on the nightstand. A day of rest was exactly what Miss Kelly needed. The next day, she headed into work with a purse full of cough drops, just in case she needed them. She was feeling much better. Before her students came in the classroom, she could sense how much they missed her the day before. Her desk was covered with sweet notes from her students telling her to feel better and how much they missed her. Miss Kelly knew she had made the right decision to stay home the day before. All right, so we're going to read it one more time. Listen carefully. You should be able to answer these questions by the end of the second read. How do you know Miss Kelly was sick? So you have to look at the text evidence. You should be able to find it right in the text of how you know that Miss Kelly was sick. You're not going to make up an answer. You're going to find it in the passage. You have to look for it up here. Why would it be a bad idea for Miss Kelly to go to school? It tells you in the passage. So don't make up an answer. The only one that I will accept as correct is the one that comes from the text. Okay, that's called text evidence. You'll hear me say that all the time. Whenever you're answering a question, find your text evidence. And then how does Miss Kelly know that her students missed her? So what did you see in the text that showed that Miss Kelly's students missed her? And then make that connection to your own life. You know, has your teacher been out sick sometime and you had a substitute? How did you show your teacher that you missed her whenever she came back? All right, we're going to read it one more time. Sick teacher. Miss Kelly was a brand new teacher at Willow Elementary School. She loved teaching her second graders and enjoyed going to work every day. One Wednesday morning, she woke up with a terrible cough and a fever. Oh no! She didn't want to miss school, but she didn't want to get her students sick either. Miss Kelly had to call in sick to work and have a substitute for her classroom. After she went to the doctor, Miss Kelly spent the rest of the day in bed with her medicine close beside her on the nightstand. A day of rest was exactly what Miss Kelly needed. The next day, she headed into work with a purse full of cough drops just in case she needed them. She was feeling much better. Before her students came in the classroom, she could sense how much they missed her the day before. Her desk was covered with sweet notes from her students telling her to feel better and how much they missed her. Miss Kelly knew she had made the right decision to stay home the day before. All right, that is the end of your fiction passage. We're going to move on to our nonfiction passage. And then after you have finished this entire video, that's when you go to your Class Dojo student account and you can answer the questions. So let's switch to our nonfiction passage, which is Life Cycle of Lima Beans. I bet you can think why I'm giving you something about lima beans to read about this week, can't you? That's right, that's a connection to a bad case of stripes. Camilla Cream was healed just by having some lima beans. So we want to learn a little bit about lima beans. So we're going to learn about their life cycle. And a life cycle takes you through the whole process of how a lima bean develops. So starting at a seed and all the way through its entire cycle. Okay, here we go. Life cycle of lima beans. There are 4 stages of life for a lima bean: seed, germination, leaf growth, and flowering. Okay, we're going to pause there because I want to do a little explaining. We're not really getting much science right now, so if we were at school, I would be teaching you all these big words. We know what the seed is. Okay, that's the part you would plant in the ground. You would water it and make sure it has good soil and sunlight. And then germination is when that seed starts to sprout. That's when the roots begin to grow. It gets this root that comes out of it. The seed coat starts opening up. Okay, that's called germination, when it begins to sprout. Okay, then leaf growth. That means the roots have gotten bigger. It's kind of sprouted a stem, and off the stem, we're getting some leaves that are growing off of it now. So during the leaf growth stage of its life cycle, obviously the leaves are growing. And the leaves are the way that the plant actually makes its own food. It takes the energy from the sun and it turns it into a way to actually create its own food, which is pretty awesome. Okay, so we're right. And then flowering, that's when the seed has made it all the way up here, and it's going to actually create a little flower, and that's where new seeds develop within the flower. It's not really like a big beautiful rose or something like that. It just has a little bitty flowery part that grows on it, and that has more seeds that will have a chance to grow into new lima beans. Okay, so we were right here. All lima bean plants start as a seed. The seed is white and about 1/2 inch to a whole inch long. The seeds need 6 to 7 hours of direct sunlight. After about 7 to 14 days, so that's 1 week to 2 weeks, the seeds will begin to germinate. That means it's starting to sprout a root. This means the plant begins to sprout out of the seed. The third stage of the life cycle is the seedling. The seedling will grow to be about 24 inches or 2 feet tall. This takes about 2 to 3 months to happen. At this time, the lima bean plant will start producing seed pods. That's the flowering part, and the whole cycle can begin again. We do have some captions that go along with pictures. In a nonfiction text, that is pretty common. The pictures usually do have some captions, and those captions are giving you important information. Always read the captions under the pictures, especially in nonfiction text. It usually is a great way to give you more info. So here's a picture of the life cycle of the lima bean. So you're going to follow the arrows, seed, and this is where it's germinated. Okay. This is where the leaves are growing. Okay, that's called the seedling. Okay, and then it's a flowering plant now. It's created a seed pod so that more seeds are able to be dispersed out and about in the world for more lima beans to be able to grow. Okay, I'm going to read this one more time so that the information is really good in your brain so that you can answer the questions at the bottom. This bottom section, it's not just going to be a couple of words that you write down. You're actually going to have to do a little bit of typing. I would say writing, because if you're at school, you'd have to write it out. But in your own words, you're going to kind of tell me about the stages of the life cycle of the lima bean. So it says identify and explain the stages of the lima bean life cycle. And then this box is for you to put a little picture. Don't think you can really do that exactly right on your Class Dojo student accounts, but you might be able to use the drawing feature on there to at least draw maybe some roots and a stem and some leaves. And, you can kind of see it on here, what it should look like at the end, okay? I'm going to read it one more time. Life cycle of lima beans. There are 4 stages of life for a lima bean: seed, germination, leaf growth, and flowering. All lima bean plants start as a seed. The seed is white and about 1/2 inch to a whole inch long. The seeds need 6 to 7 hours of direct sunlight. After about 7 to 14 days, the seeds will begin to germinate. This means the plant begins to sprout out of the seed. The third stage of the life cycle is the seedling. The seedling will grow to be about 24 inches or 2 feet tall. This takes about 2 to 3 months to happen. At this time, the lima bean plant will start producing seed pods, and the whole cycle can begin again. It says check out this video to learn more about the life cycle of a lima bean. I'm not sure if you, on the screen, whenever you see the uploaded worksheet when it's up there, I'm not sure if you can click on that or kind of scan it with the camera, that QR code, and see if it would take you there or not. I'm not sure if that would work when you don't have the paper right in front of you, but you can certainly give it a try. Now down here at the bottom, remember yesterday we learned about summarizing, giving a good summary. Somebody wanted but, so, then. That's a good summary for a fiction passage, but this is nonfiction. But kind of the same idea. So the somebody isn't really going to be a person. We're talking about the lima beans now. Okay, they don't really want anything, but you're going to explain the stages in the lima bean. So when you're summarizing for a nonfiction passage, it doesn't follow the exact method I just taught you yesterday, but you are still definitely going to take out the important parts of this passage and use that in your summary. You're not going to rewrite this whole thing. You're just going to take the important parts that tell the stages of the lima bean. So you're going to name it and give a detail of what it is. You're not just going to say seed. You're going to tell me, I would plant a seed in the ground, water it, and give it sunlight. Germination, you are going to talk about how it begins, here you can see in the picture, it begins to grow roots. Okay, so you have to, it says explain those stages. So you can't just name it, but you also have to tell what's happening to that part of the plant during that stage. All right, so fiction passage and a nonfiction passage, they will be listed as 2 different assignments in your student account on Class Dojo. I can't post them together because they're 2 different pages. So there'll be 2 different assignments. You have to click on both of them and complete both of them for your reading work today. All right, then I'll see you back here tomorrow. Okay. Adios.